Yeah, here's the potato pulleys using a 3-belt Westinghouse washer. The older style like this has got rivets on it that holds the roller bearing assembly. And these are two of the older styles with rivets on here. There's a roller bearing on here like this. The newer style I came out with has got a centered piece on here, and I had one of these come apart with a fatigue failure, so I ended up putting bolts on here. But I particularly don't like this one as well because the centered iron, I had one that had a crack on it and it cracked apart. But that's the potato pulley. That's the one that wobbles around and gives the different RPM that goes around, say 53 to 57 RPM. So the radius changes when you go around, and that gives the speed difference. That's a potato pulley probably from the 80s, and these are some that are from the 70s with the piece on here that's got rivets on it. I've had better luck with these with the rivets. On this one, this is actually a piece of metal that's not centered, and the newer one is centered. And this is a retrofit I put on with some washers and some big bolts. That lasted a few years. This one actually is the original one from '76. I've repainted, and I just took it out of use because the bearings are a little bit worn in the rollers, but it still works in there. So it's kind of goofy. The bearing theoretically is replaceable in there. One of the rollers actually is out of this one because the cage has got a fatigue failure in it on that. That's really, I guess I fibbed there. That one needs a new bearing in it. This is the one I normally use in the washing machine with the roller bearing. I painted these kind of goofy colors just so I could tell them apart. This is the high-speed shiv. It's larger in diameter. It's got a keyway here for the shaft, and it goes the full RPM of the drum. This is on a 76 white Westinghouse. It's got a diameter of about 11 inches. That's key to the shaft, directly drive to the drum. So when you're in high speed mode in the spin cycle, this is keyed to the shaft that ties directly to the drum. So this blue pulley is going at the same speed exactly with the drum. It's tied to the drum. And behind this one goes on top of here, and you have a slinky spring that's on here. That's the one-way clutch. So when this goes into high-speed mode, this is slipping on the clutch. There's a slinky spring that's around this feature, and it's all greased up, and it's called, this will slip on here when it wants to go faster. So when you hit the high-speed solenoid on there, it goes through and slips on this. That's why this has to be really well greased so it doesn't get torn up. Normally when you're going slow, this drives it, and that gives the wobble for the normal wash cycle, and this is for the rinse cycle where it's going around 540 RPM. So you can see here the diameter varies. When you're watching this thing go, you'll see this piece go wobble outside of here because it'll be going a different speed. It's all driven by like automotive type belts that are in there that are nothing really special. I mean, they have a certain length to them. They're all available on eBay. But that's the eccentric pulley, often called the potato pulley, the oval pulley, I don't know, the 3-belt pulley, whatever you want to call it. It's got a radius of roughly 4.5 to about 6. Just see the pants numbers there. So that gives the oscillating motion. that allows a little bit of random motion when you're washing. These holes here, I think they're just there for painting. When I painted these, I think that's what they're for in the factory when they hang them to paint them. Normally they don't come, when you buy these things, they just come normal colors. I just painted these different colors so I knew which ones are which. But anyways, that's the potato pulley for the, this is for a 76 white Westinghouse washing machine. This design goes back to probably the mid-50s, and it was used to roughly the late 90s, and then they went to a fixed pulley where they ran a direct drive motor, the DC torquer motor, where they could vary the speed back and forth. This one always goes one direction. On the last version they made, they went ahead, this only got one belt. The motor actually will go both directions, but that's with a DC torquer motor that uses the same, roughly the same drum, same mechanics. It doesn't have all the solenoids and all that stuff. Most of the problems you get into this is that somebody goes through and they don't grease this, and this needs to be greased fairly well every, I don't know, 5 or 10 years, so it'll slip, and it'll last. This one lasted from 70s, lasted 20 years before we had some bearings that started to get noisy before I replaced it. Anyways, that's it. That's the potato pulley for the 76 white Westinghouse washing machine in hot colors.